Unlocking your potential, understanding and overcoming self-sabotage. Ever feel like you're your own worst enemy? Like you're standing in your own way, preventing yourself from achieving your dreams? You're not alone. Let's explore the hidden reasons behind self-sabotage and how to break free. Self-sabotage, at its core, is a pattern of behaviors, both active and passive, that undermine your own goals and well-being. It's like building a beautiful sandcastle only to kick it down yourself. This behavior can seep into every corner of your life, from your closest relationships to your career aspirations and even your personal health. Think of it as creating obstacles that block your path to long-term success and happiness. It's not just about making mistakes, it's about consistently acting against your own best interests. For instance, you might find yourself constantly delaying work on a crucial project or inexplicably ruining a perfectly good relationship, even when you consciously desire the opposite. In essence, self-sabotage is a complex dance where you are both the obstacle and the victim. You're the one creating the roadblocks, yet you're also the one suffering the consequences. It's a frustrating cycle, but understanding it is the first step towards breaking free. The reasons behind self-sabotaging behaviors are as varied and complex as we are. These reasons often operate on both conscious and subconscious levels, making them tricky to identify and address. Let's delve into some of the most common psychological drivers. Sometimes, self-sabotage is a deliberate act, a conscious choice to undermine yourself. This is often referred to as self-handicapping. Imagine someone overeating while on a diet or getting drunk the night before a crucial presentation. They know these actions will hinder their progress, yet they do them anyway. Why? Because it provides a convenient excuse for potential failure. If they fail, they can blame the obstacle they created, protecting their ego from the sting of feeling inadequate. It's a twisted sense of control, a way to manage the fear of not being good enough. However, more often than not, self-sabotage operates on a subconscious level. You might not even realize you're doing it. For example, chronically missing deadlines or forgetting important tasks could be masking a deeper, underlying fear of failure. It's like a hidden program running in the background, subtly influencing your actions. One of the most powerful drivers of self-sabotage is fear, particularly the fear of failing or being rejected. It's a primal instinct to protect ourselves from pain, and sometimes that protection manifests in self-defeating ways. The flawed logic goes something like this. It feels safer to ruin an opportunity on your own terms than to give it your all and still fail. Imagine procrastinating on a project or putting in minimal effort. If it fails, you can tell yourself, "I didn't really try," shielding yourself from the vulnerability of giving your best and still falling short. This fear-based sabotage often stems from low self-confidence or past experiences of failure. Research suggests that anxiety and self-doubt can trigger deliberate self-sabotaging acts, leading you to destroy your own potential wins. In relationships, the fear of rejection can be equally potent. If you've experienced past hurts or harbor deep-seated insecurities, you might preemptively push your partner away, essentially rejecting them before they can reject you. It's a misguided attempt at self-protection, a way to avoid the potential pain of abandonment. Paradoxically, the fear of success can also lead to self-sabotage. If you deep down feel you don't deserve success or happiness, a hallmark of low self-esteem or imposter syndrome, achieving those things creates an internal conflict. Succeeding would contradict your ingrained negative beliefs about yourself, creating a form of cognitive dissonance. To resolve this discomfort, you might unconsciously sabotage your success. For example, someone close to a big promotion might start underperforming or missing work, driven by an unconscious belief that they are not worthy of the achievement. Psychologists have observed cases where individuals on the verge of a great opportunity sabotage it, perhaps by excessive drinking and missing an important meeting, because they feel deeply uncomfortable with the idea of prospering. In these instances, success is as scary as failure, leading to self-defeating actions. A closely related concept is imposter syndrome, where high achievers feel like frauds and believe they'll be found out. This can lead them to self-sabotage opportunities due to the uneasiness with their own achievements. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop, constantly anticipating the moment when their perceived inadequacy will be exposed. Poor self-esteem is often a root cause of self-sabotage. If you believe you're not smart enough, not lovable, or destined to fail, you'll often behave in ways that confirm those beliefs. This can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, a vicious cycle of negative thoughts and self-defeating actions. If you've been told, or told yourself, that you'll never succeed, you might unconsciously engineer failures to align reality with that expectation. For instance, someone with a negative self-image might sabotage a budding romance because they know, deep down, it won't last. Or they might quit a course of study just before graduation because they can't imagine themselves as a competent professional. In short, you tend to act in accordance with your core beliefs. If those beliefs are self-critical, your behavior will likely be self-sabotaging. Research has shown that insecure attachment styles, often formed in childhood, and chronic low self-worth make you especially vulnerable to self-sabotage. You literally don't feel good enough for good outcomes, so you ensure those outcomes don't happen. Your early life experiences have a profound impact on your self-sabotaging patterns. Growing up with trauma, dysfunctional family dynamics, or caregivers who were critical or unreliable can lead to deep-seated beliefs and fears that shape your behavior for years to come. For example, a child who is repeatedly told they'd never amount to much may internalize that voice. As an adult, when faced with an opportunity to achieve, that person might unconsciously sabotage their efforts so that the prediction comes true. It's like fulfilling a prophecy, even if it's a negative one. Similarly, in the context of love and friendship, those with insecure attachment, stemming from neglectful or inconsistent caregiving, often struggle to trust others' affection. They might crave a stable relationship, yet expect abandonment or betrayal. This inner conflict can cause them to sabotage their relationships, perhaps by cheating, initiating needless conflicts, or abruptly leaving, to protect themselves from a seemingly inevitable hurt. In essence, trauma and past hurts create subconscious scripts that play out through self-defeating behaviors. It's like being trapped in a recurring nightmare, repeating the same patterns of pain and disappointment. Self-sabotage frequently serves as a maladaptive coping mechanism. When you lack healthy strategies to handle stress, you might turn to behaviors that relieve discomfort in the short term, but hurt in the long term. For instance, self-medicating with alcohol or drugs is a way to numb anxiety or sadness, but it also undermines your health, goals, and relationships. Such coping-related sabotage might stem from an inability to tolerate uncomfortable emotions or uncertainty. Rather than facing a challenging task or conversation, you escape into avoidance or indulgence, thus sabotaging the situation. Unfortunately, while this may provide temporary relief, it usually makes problems worse over time. It's not uncommon for people who have survived difficult experiences, like trauma or loss, to develop self-sabotaging habits as a survival tactic turned maladaptive. For example, avoiding intimacy might have protected someone from harm in the past, but in a safe new relationship, it only serves to create distance and loneliness. As mentioned earlier, cognitive dissonance plays a significant role in self-sabotage. This is the mental discomfort of holding contradictory beliefs versus reality. You strive for internal consistency, so if you believe, "I am not the kind of person who has a happy marriage," perhaps due to a chaotic family background, and yet you find yourself in a loving, stable partnership, you might experience deep subconscious conflict. One way your psyche resolves this conflict is by sabotaging the situation to match your belief. For example, someone from a broken home who doesn't truly believe in lasting love may start arguments or find reasons to leave a perfectly good relationship, aligning reality with their ingrained expectations. Similarly, a person who believes making a lot of money will change me or my values might sabotage career advances to avoid that dissonance. In all such cases, the inner narrative, such as "I'm undeserving" or "good things don't happen to people like me," wins out over external progress, unless that narrative is consciously challenged. In summary, self-sabotage arises from a complex interplay of psychological factors, typically involving fear, low self-worth, or unresolved past experiences. Whether intentional or not, the behavior serves an emotional function, protecting you from potential pain, failure, or identity conflict, but at the great expense of your long-term success and happiness. Self-sabotage is incredibly common, though it often goes unrecognized. Almost everyone at one point or another has engaged in behavior that undermined their own best interests, sometimes in small ways, sometimes in life-altering ways. Because self-sabotage encompasses many everyday behaviors, like procrastination or excessive worrying, psychologists believe that the vast majority of people self-sabotage to some degree. It's difficult to pinpoint an exact prevalence for self-sabotage as a whole, since it's a broad concept, but we can examine how widespread some self-sabotaging behaviors are. Procrastination, one of the most common forms, is nearly universal. Research indicates that about 95% of people admit to procrastinating at least occasionally, and roughly 20% of adults are chronic procrastinators who delay important tasks habitually. This procrastination occurs at work, at school, and in personal life, directly impeding goals. Among college students, a group notorious for procrastination, 80–95% engage in procrastination, and about 50% do so consistently, which clearly hampers their academic success. In the realm of relationships, self-sabotage is also common. In one large-scale study, over 2,300 individuals were surveyed about their romantic histories, and every participant reported some history of relationship sabotage. While this sample was selected for people with those experiences, it illustrates that many people have sabotaged their love lives at least once. Patterns like unwillingness to trust, choosing unsuitable partners, or ending relationships out of fear are frequently reported. Workplace self-sabotage is familiar to career coaches and psychologists. People frequently cite getting in their own way as a reason for stalled careers. Whether it's chronic lateness, not speaking up, or turning down opportunities due to imposter feelings, many professionals hinder their advancement internally. Surveys in organizational psychology find that a significant number of employees exhibit behaviors like avoiding feedback, delaying projects, or resisting change, all of which can be viewed as forms of self-sabotage on the job. Even more extreme self-sabotaging behaviors, while less common than procrastination, still occur at notable rates. For example, a medical study found that about 7% of people in a primary care setting had intentionally undermined their own health care at least once, such as skipping needed medical treatment or not taking prescribed medication on purpose. And among psychiatric patients, who often struggle with self-destructive patterns, 63% admitted to some form of medical self-sabotage in their past. These numbers underscore that self-sabotage isn't a rare quirk. It's something a majority of people experience, ranging from mild forms to very serious patterns. In short, self-sabotaging behavior is widespread across populations. It may manifest differently from one person to the next, but the underlying theme of being your own worst enemy is something most of us can relate to. The key is that while nearly everyone does it occasionally, some people fall into chronic cycles of self-sabotage that significantly impact their lives. Self-sabotage can take many forms and can occur in virtually any domain of life. Here are some common areas where self-defeating patterns tend to show up and how they manifest. In romantic relationships, self-sabotage often involves behaviors that create unnecessary conflict or distance with one's partner. People with a fear of intimacy or a fear of getting hurt might, often unconsciously, undermine a good relationship even when things are going well. Common examples include finding trivial reasons to argue or criticize, withdrawing emotionally or stonewalling communication, or even cheating and pushing a partner away despite no major issues in the relationship. These actions frequently stem from insecure attachment styles and past hurt. For instance, someone who was abandoned or betrayed before may expect it to happen again. To preempt the pain, they might sabotage the relationship first. Psychologists in one study noted that key drivers of relationship self-sabotage include low self-esteem, fear of vulnerability, fear of abandonment, and fear of commitment. In practice, this means a person might end a happy relationship suddenly because it feels too good to be true, or continually test their partner's loyalty in destructive ways. Interestingly, people who sabotage one relationship often repeat the pattern in future ones if the underlying issues aren't addressed. Some hallmark signs of self-sabotaging in relationships are constant criticism, finding faults in your partner or the relationship that aren't really significant, effectively picking fights and eroding intimacy. Lack of communication, shutting down or avoiding honest communication about feelings, which prevents resolution of issues and creates distance. Trust issues and jealousy, struggling to trust even when trust is earned, or becoming overly jealous and accusatory, which can drive the partner away. Clinginess or control. On the flip side, some sabotage their relationships by being too clingy or controlling, driven by fear of losing the partner. This can smother the relationship or provoke pushback. Avoidance of commitment. Deliberately keeping the relationship from progressing, refusing to define the relationship, avoiding future plans, due to fear of commitment or assumption it won't last. In all these ways, the person creates problems that need not exist, effectively manufacturing a reason for the relationship to fail. Sadly, this often fulfills the very fears, such as, "I'll end up alone," that prompted the self-sabotage. It's a painful irony that in trying to protect themselves, people often cause the loss or heartbreak they feared. Self-sabotage in the workplace or career context usually involves behaviors that stall your progress or damage your reputation on the job. A classic example is procrastination on important work tasks. An employee might delay preparing for a presentation or put off applying for a promotion, thus missing opportunities. This can happen because of fear of failure. If I try and fail, it'll hurt, so better to not try too hard. Or even fear of success. Advancing might raise expectations that I'm not sure I can meet. There are cases of very overt career self-sabotage. For instance, a person who is about to land a major client or promotion might sabotage the opportunity by engaging in self-destructive behavior, like getting intoxicated the night before a crucial meeting, and then blowing the meeting. Here, an internal voice of unworthiness leads them to screw things up for yourself, as one therapist put it, at the worst possible time. More everyday forms of career sabotage include chronic lateness or absenteeism, being frequently late to work or absent on days when something important happens. This can subtly undermine one's reliability and reputation, even if one has the skills for the job. Perfectionism and overworking. It may sound counterintuitive, but insisting on perfection or over-analyzing can be a form of self-sabotage. If you spend so long trying to make a project just right that you miss deadlines or burn out, you are undermining your own success. Perfectionism can lead to stagnation. Nothing gets finished, which certainly harms career progress. Avoiding responsibilities or growth. An employee might decline leadership roles, avoid additional training, or shy away from high-visibility projects due to self-doubt. This playing small is a quieter form of sabotage that can keep someone stuck in place professionally. Conflict with colleagues or superiors. Some people unconsciously create friction with co-workers or bosses, perhaps by not collaborating, by missing team deadlines, or by reacting defensively to feedback. Such behavior can derail promotions or even lead to job loss. In some cases, a person who fears being fired might ironically start acting out in ways that get them fired, as if to take control of the anticipated outcome. Imposter syndrome behaviors. At higher levels, a professional who feels like an imposter might over-prepare to the point of exhaustion, or conversely avoid challenges, both of which can hinder performance. The internal narrative of "I'm not actually capable" can cause someone to not speak up in meetings, not take credit for their work, or overwork to compensate, all forms of undermining their own advancement. Overall, career self-sabotage prevents capable people from reaching their professional potential. You are effectively getting in your own way, a feeling many of us have had when we realize we're the only barrier to moving forward. The consequences can be missed promotions, stagnation in one's role, or a pattern of jumping from job to job when things start looking promising, out of fear of commitment or failure. Over time, this can seriously affect one's income, confidence, and career satisfaction. Many people struggle with self-sabotage in the pursuit of personal goals, such as health, fitness, education, or creative ambitions. This often manifests as a cycle of making progress toward a goal, then undoing that progress through certain behaviors. A few common scenarios include health and fitness. You set a goal to lose weight or get fit and stick to a plan for a while, but as soon as you start seeing results, you engage in reward behaviors that spiral out of control. For example, rewarding myself with a cheat snack, which turns into a cheat week, and then losing all the fitness gains. This yo-yo pattern, 2 steps forward, 1 or more steps back, is classic self-sabotage. It can stem from a feeling of not deserving to be healthy or attractive, or using food as comfort during stress. Breaking bad habits. Whether it's quitting smoking, reducing alcohol, or cutting back on spending, you often find yourself relapsing when things are going well. A smoker might go a month without cigarettes, then light one up on a tough day and slide back into the habit, knowing full well it undermines their goal. The relapse might provide short-term relief or pleasure, but it ultimately reinforces the difficulty of change. Often, underlying stress or emotional triggers are at play. Personal projects and dreams, procrastination hits especially hard here. If you dream of writing a novel, starting a business, or going back to school, self-sabotage might appear as endless procrastination or excuse-making that delays any real progress. You might say, "I'll start when I have more time," or continuously tinker with an idea without ever launching it. Fear of failure or success is usually the culprit. By never fully attempting the goal, you avoid the risk of disappointment. Unfortunately, you also guarantee that the goal remains unfulfilled. Habits and routines, even day-to-day habit building, like keeping one's home or recognizing self-sabotage, is the first step. But the real work lies in breaking free from these patterns. Here are some effective strategies to help you overcome self-sabotage and unlock your full potential. The foundation of change is self-awareness. Start by paying close attention to your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. When do you tend to self-sabotage? What situations or emotions trigger these patterns? Keep a journal to track your experiences. Note the specific behaviors, the circumstances surrounding them, and the emotions you were feeling at the time. This will help you identify your personal triggers and understand the underlying reasons for your self-sabotaging actions. Self-sabotage is often fueled by negative beliefs about yourself and your capabilities. Challenge these beliefs by asking yourself, are they really true? What evidence do I have to support them? What evidence contradicts them? Replace negative thoughts with more positive and realistic ones. For example, instead of thinking, I'm going to fail, try, I'm capable of learning and growing, and I'll do my best. Practice self-compassion and treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Overwhelming goals can trigger fear and self-doubt, leading to self-sabotage. Break down your goals into smaller, more manageable steps. This will make them feel less daunting and increase your chances of success. Celebrate your small wins along the way. Acknowledge your progress and reward yourself for your efforts. This will boost your confidence and motivation, making it easier to stay on track. Self-sabotage is often a way of coping with stress or uncomfortable emotions. Develop healthier coping mechanisms such as exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, or talking to a trusted friend or therapist. Learn to regulate your emotions by practicing mindfulness and identifying your emotional triggers. When you feel overwhelmed, take a break, practice deep breathing, or engage in a relaxing activity. You don't have to go through this alone. Seek support from friends, family, or a therapist. Talking about your struggles can help you gain perspective and develop new strategies for overcoming self-sabotage. Build healthy relationships based on trust, respect, and open communication. Surround yourself with people who support your goals and encourage your growth. Be kind to yourself. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't beat yourself up for self-sabotaging behaviors. Instead, practice self-compassion and forgive yourself for your imperfections. Learn from your mistakes and use them as opportunities for growth. Remember that overcoming self-sabotage is a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress along the way. If you're struggling to overcome self-sabotage on your own, consider seeking professional help from a therapist or counselor. A therapist can help you identify the underlying causes of your self-sabotaging behaviors and develop effective strategies for change. Therapy can provide a safe and supportive space to explore your emotions, challenge negative beliefs, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. It can also help you heal from past trauma and build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. You have the power to break free from self-sabotage and create a life filled with success, happiness, and fulfillment. It's time to take control of your narrative and rewrite your story. Take the first step today. Reflect on your own behaviors. Identify areas where you might be self-sabotaging. Start a journal. Track your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to identify triggers. Challenge negative beliefs. Replace them with more positive and realistic ones. Set realistic goals. Break them down into smaller, manageable steps. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself and forgive your imperfections. Don't wait any longer to unlock your full potential. Embrace the journey of self-discovery and empowerment. You deserve to live a life free from self-sabotage.